Hey, Jayhawk fans, welcome to another edition of the Jayhawker podcast. My name is Nate Bukaty. It's great to have you with us, and it's an exciting show today because we have the new volleyball coach at the University of Kansas coming up, Matt Ulmer, in just a moment. But I want to thank our sponsors before we get started. Once again, the Jayhawker podcast is brought to you by the University of Kansas Health System, by Black & Veatch, and by the Next Generation 10G Network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Well, this is really exciting to get a chance, the first chance to talk to the brand new volleyball coach at the University of Kansas. Matt Ulmer is here, and I, get to meet you for the first time in person, and I guess I wasn't surprised at all, but as a short person myself, you certainly got the build of a volleyball person yourself. I'm glad we're doing this interview to sit down, but how are you, man? This is great. It's great to get a chance to meet you.
Feels like I get to take a breath for the moment, which is nice. Yeah, I'm doing great. It's just it's a whirlwind, but just so much excitement. Every day is just bringing more joy and just even more just like certainty of why this place is so great. So
we're going to get into that stuff because that obviously is the most important, but I just want to paint the picture for people that might be watching or listening to this as we're sitting in this cool event space where they do social media stuff on campus. You came barreling in with 4 kids and a wife, and it's as a father of I'm married with 3 kids myself. I know the chaos that my life is. You got a lot going on family wise. Tell us about your family a little bit.
Yeah, my wife Kara is the MVP. I mean, I can't do what I do if it's not for her doing what she does. And 4 kids, so 11, 9, 3, and 1. So we're totally in it. Camden, Harper, Harlow, and Easton. And yeah, we're a little circus that travels around, so we're excited to travel, to Lawrence. And it's been great that they got to come on this trip, and they're now really excited for this trip and a lot of change in their life. But no, they absolutely are loving it and seeing why this could be a great thing for our family.
As you were getting ready to sit down for the interview, a couple of them wanted daddy. They didn't want to have, you had to, that shows the kind of connection you have with your kids right there, which is something that stands out to me right off the bat. But when you're making a decision that doesn't just impact you, like one to come halfway across the country and you've got little kids involved and everything, what type of dynamic does that add to the whole equation for you?
I mean, I would say most of my decision doesn't really have to do with me, personally. I think it's a totality of our family, and what we want to do for our future and where we see ourselves. So my wife and I are from Midwest suburbs, Midwest town, and near Chicago O'Hare Airport. Like that's where we grew up, and we absolutely loved growing up in the Midwest, and we loved our life as kids. I know our parents enjoyed raising us in the Midwest, and so for us, like that's really what we wanted for our kids and for our family. So that was a big part of our decision: is where do we want to raise our kids as they're growing up, and where do we want to live, and where do we want to really plant our roots. And Eugene was amazing for us, but this is where we saw our future.
So that all sounds great, but you leave a fairly temperate climate in Oregon and you get here and it's 8 degrees below zero today when we're doing this. I'm sure you had winters like that in Chicago growing up. How does the winter strike you when you have, weather like this?
We're used to it.
Yeah.
Every other Christmas we go home, back to Chicago. And again, that's where the grandmas are and a grandpa and a bunch of the families. So, so we're used to going back and just bundling up, bringing our coats, bringing our gloves, but we're an indoor sport, and we're in the house, we're in the school, we're in the church, like we're inside a bunch. I mean, that's not that big of a deal. We like seasons too. So for us, like in Oregon, it's a bit of a, winter's a little bit more of a rainy season. So you're not necessarily out a lot anyway. So it's just kind of what it is. So, but I know today's an extra cold day, but it's fine. We like coats.
Yeah. So yeah. No, I mean, obviously you came here for a reason. I just was laughing because it's like one of those things where it's not always this cold in Kansas these days, but you happen to come on one of the coldest days that we've had in a long time. Yeah. Let's get into it though. Let's explore the decision a little bit more, because I think you could easily sit on the outside and look at it and go, well, this guy had a lot of success at Oregon. I mean, 7 NCAA tournaments in 8 years, 3 Elite 8 runs. Why make a change? Why make the move? So, you've told us a little bit about the family. What were the things that made you decide this is something that you wanted to do right now?
Well, I mean, when we were in Southern California, I was at Long Beach State. And could have been there for forever, could have done that. But again, our son was just born. Our first son was just born, and he was 5 months, or right when we got in the car when he was born. I remember looking in the rearview mirror and seeing my wife in the back and going like, I got to go. I was never home because it's expensive to live there. And I was in the gym 6 or 7 nights of the week. I'm like, I want to be a great dad. I want to be a great husband. And I think and I want to be a great coach. I think I can do all three things. And so you're trying to find the right fit of how to do that, how to balance your life as best as you can. And so for us, that was why, we looked to make that move. And at the time I was an assistant. And so getting the job at Oregon as the assistant coach, you don't think like, oh, well, this is going to be our forever place because I'm going to be an assistant. It was like, it was the great next thing for us. And the way things worked out is I ended up getting that job in an interim and then head coach, and we've been there. But that was never really our plan, is to necessarily like, that's where we want to raise our family and be there full time. And we had great success at Long Beach and great success at Oregon. And we're going to have great success at Kansas, but it's more about, I think, the whole package, what we were looking for. And so there was never going to be a good time to leave Oregon, because either if it's not good, I'm going to get let go. And, so that's one way out, or the other one is if it's going well, you're going to leave something that's going well, and you're going to leave a lot of people that you have great relationships with, that you really respect and, hold dear, like huge memories, and just no negative there. But it's just anytime you leave, people are going to say, well, why are you going? It's like, well, that was not necessarily our intention when we went there in the first place. It just is kind of what God did in our lives. And it was, and it was an amazing 11 years, ups and downs. But I think we, absolutely made the most of it, and hopefully we left a positive impact on Oregon. And, but now this is the time, and this is the place, and this is where we want to be. And hopefully this is the last place and the last time that, that we get to do this. And this is where we get to, raise our family and, continue the legacy that Coach B has already instilled.
When you started the process of considering this, how much did you know about Kansas, the university? How much did you know about the volleyball program?
Yeah, I've never been to Lawrence before. Like, been to Kansas City a bunch, and I really like Kansas City. I've been to Overland Park, like that area, and love that. And I just remember we were with our family. This is a handful of years ago, and we're like, we could totally live, in this area, and we felt really comfortable there. We have friends in the area, so all that was good. Again, it's a short enough drive that we could get to the rest of the family if we wanted to, in a day, but also long enough where they're not coming over for dinner every night. So it's like the perfect blend for us. It's a short nonstop, from Kansas City Airport to everywhere, literally everywhere that our family is. That was really important in our, factor too, because as our kids grow up, we want our family involved in their lives more. We want to be able to see the cousins and the grandparents. So, I mean, all that part was really instrumental to us. So, but no, I didn't know a ton. I mean, I knew more about probably Kansas basketball. Growing up being a basketball fan, basketball family a lot there. So that's been cool to be in Allen and just see some of these different things. And, that part's been good. But, I mean, as far as volleyball goes, I mean, I know 2015 was an amazing year, watching them and then following the teams throughout. And then 2021, they eliminated us from the tournament. So I just decided that, I'm 0-1 against Kansas as a coach. So if you can't beat them, join them,
Well, the atmosphere here at Horish has become incredible. It's really been fun to see the program's success over the last few years and the way that the community has embraced it. The matches are exciting. The environment's great. So, I think it's, it's in the exciting times just continue. So I'd like to talk to you about, just some philosophical thoughts when it comes to, what maybe have been some of the keys to your success. What are some of the things that you think are like the most important foundational things that you've brought from the stops that you've been at through Oregon and now to Kansas?
I think relationships, it's the number one thing. I mean, my coaching philosophy is you have to connect before you can correct. It's about getting to know people. It's about loving on them, helping them through their journey, genuinely caring about human beings, and not just a transactional volleyball, what they can do for me, type thing. And that's definitely getting harder right now. And so as a coach, I think that's the challenge in the current landscape, is how do you continue to have that, bring that culture with the day-to-day of where, college sports is going. But that's a challenge that we have for here. And I felt like, Travis, and this university, this athletic department, this volleyball community absolutely give us the best chance of being able to handle that transition of, keeping about relationships, keeping about the student athletes first, center on them. And then, hopefully we're pretty good coaches and we can train people up and we know the sport. And and then we'll do things the right way for the student athletes and for the people in the athletic department and in the community. But it really is, it's just about loving on the student athletes the best we can and giving them their best chance to be successful.
There's a few places I want to go with that answer because you covered a few different topics, but you referenced Travis. Yeah. I'm curious what the conversations were like with him and what maybe impressed you about him, or what did you take away from those conversations?
Yeah, I just felt like just total attraction there of how I would want my boss to be, and just from the first phone call, it was just like, yeah, like this is it. This is, again, as we're looking and, we're trying to, where do we want our family to live and all those things, but also like the boss that I want to have and the visionary, the leader, that I want to be able to work for, just totally felt very aligned in that, felt unbelievably supported and wanted. And that Travis sees the importance of women's volleyball, in this community, I think in the athletic department nationally, and in the Big 12, just all the things that I'm hoping for and would want to do. And I just told him multiple times, I really would like an administration that wants to grow with me, right? Like, as we take this thing where it's going to go, stay with us, and let's keep doing it together. And, he was totally on board with that. So just a ton there. And then he just seems like, and everything I've been able to research, just a really quality guy, great husband, great dad. And I think he takes care of his coaches. And again, I think at the heart of him is the same thing. It's the relationships and it's about taking care of the people around him. So I just felt like, we were like-minded in so many things, and that was really attractive to me.
Yeah, there's you talked about the Midwestern roots. He's a Midwestern guy, right. And there's that authenticity, the realness there, the substance that I think you're looking for, and that translates. I mean, that all tracks. Another part of your answer that stood out to me is you talked about, I love that phrase, you got to connect before you can correct. You referenced you don't want to have just transactional relationships. And that's getting tougher because it is a very transactional period in college athletics, right? So how are you finding that balance right now?
Well, I think coming into Kansas at the moment, it's really tough because I don't have those relationships with the players or the staff yet, right? And so it's like you're trying to do things. I want to do things with the best interests of everybody that I'm talking to. That doesn't always align with what's best for the team. And so at least for right now in this transition, I'm trying to have some tough conversations right now, trying to get things as off to the right foot as we can. I'd rather things not take a long time to get where we wanted to get to, but also respect what Coach B has done, and what's been created, because it's obviously a great program with a ton of success, but, so I think just cultivating those relationships as quickly as possible, trying to do things the right way that we can. I really believe in honesty. You might not like what I say, but you're going to hear it, and then you can make what's the best decision for you. And so I try to do that with as much love as I can. Again, even if I say it as nice as possible, it still doesn't feel good sometimes. But I think that's where we're at in the moment. In a few weeks, I'm hopeful we're at the place where we're getting in the gym, they're getting to know me as a coach and as a person, and we're able to build a lot of those relationships. And that's where I plan to spend a lot of my time, is just getting to know the team and everybody in the athletic department better and better. And hopefully fans are going to show up, and, I can get in the community and get to know everybody. But so just throwing myself in, and that's what I love to do. Can't wait to go to other games. Hopefully basketball's around right when I'm there, and we're going to get to everybody. I'm someone that would go to every sporting event I could in Eugene, and that's not going to change. So, I want to be very present, very visible, and do everything I can to uplift everybody around me.
So if you were to say, like, if somebody were to observe your program and say, these 2 or 3 things are what you really know about, like, this is what a Matt Ulmer program looks like. This is what his teams are. This is what they represent. What would you want someone to say about your program?
Well, I try to recruit student athletes that are fierce competitors, but that also can make fun of themselves and laugh something off. I think if we're only just competitive all the time and uber serious, then we're going to be stiff. It's not going to be very fun to be around. We spend a lot of time together, whether that's on the road or in the gym or whatever that is. But if we're too goofy all the time, then, we're not ready to compete at the highest level. So I think you're trying to find that blend. So hopefully they could see that, wow, this is a really caring group. that really appreciates being around each other and looks like they're really having a lot of joy in what they're doing. But also, they are relentless competitors. They get after it as much as any team I've seen. And I think if you watch the teams that we've had at Oregon, like, I think that's what you will come away with. And then from a coaching perspective, yeah, I want to be the most disciplined. I want to have, fundamentally sound, the type of athletes or the style of play that we have, which is fast and physical. I'd like to do that, but that'll take time, here. But at least from the onset of what we should be acting like, hopefully that's what you could see.
Okay, so you use the word fast and physical, the words fast and physical.
Yeah.
Describe the style a little bit, maybe for KU fans that don't know what they're looking to see. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I mean, high above the net with your attackers, with your blockers, strong shoulders, dynamic athletes, that can fly on the court, hard-nosed defense. We get on the floor, we are going to be relentless in the pursuit of being excellent on the court. You got setters that are creative and have freedom, to make bold choices out on the court and kind of play their game. We really try to train in the gym where it's pretty detailed and disciplined in the gym so that when they get out onto the court, they feel free and they can read and just play the game that they love to play and that they're prepared for that. So there's a lot to that. But from a recruiting standpoint, as big as we can get up above the net, you want to be high and you want to be able to hit over the top of the block and with a lot of pace and you want to have multiple options that can do that. And again, that will probably take time, to get to that point. But that's what we're committed to doing.
One of the things, as I was reading up about you and studying your career, that you're very well known for developing players, over time. What do you think is the key to the success there? Why do you think you've had success developing players? What is the most important part of that job for you?
I think there's probably a lot of things that go into that, but the first one I'd say in recruiting, it's about identifying the best athletes. So they might not be already, at the top of their craft, when we're scouting them. And so maybe other people will shy away from them. It's like when you see like a home renovation, like a lot of people, they can't see what that could look like.
Yeah.
They just they need to see the finished product. And I'm a coach that doesn't need to see the finished product, right? I just want to see the potential there. And I want to see who they are as people, because if they are highly motivated and they have great character and they have the potential, it's going to work. So I think that's a big part of what we've been able to do. And then we get in the gym, and again, those people, they're high achievers. I mean, and they want to get after it. And I say that, I like for players that want to use our staff to get to the next level. I think I'm my best coach when we're doing that, as opposed to me trying to motivate you to get in the gym and get reps and, compete hard. I'll say it's like you have kids, isn't it better when the kids want a clean room so they clean their room because they like a clean room, as opposed to
if I had one that was interested in cleaning my room, I will let you know.
But but I get to recruit them. We don't create them. I get to recruit them, right? And so for me, it's like, as a parent, if you want their room clean, okay, and so you're the one that's just going to be nagging them about it, and you're the one pushing them for it, there's going to be resistance, right? And it's going to be so frustrating. Your kid's not going to like it. You're not going to like it. You're not going to like who you become. You're not going to like it, all those things. So we're trying to recruit people that they have high standards, high goals, and then we're going to elevate those even more, and then they're going to use us to get to the next place. So I think right now we have 16 current professional players that we coached at Oregon, and then I have 3 more that I coached in club at Long Beach before going up there. So 19 current pro players, 42 that I've coached over my career. So I think that has worked well for us. And again, you can see there's a path. There's a path for any recruit that wants to come here if they want to continue to play. And there's so many opportunities right now for women's professional volleyball. It's really exciting, especially in our country. So it's just the right time. And again, I think Kansas is the right place where we can continue to do what we do, and hopefully that will lead us to a lot of success in the Big 12 and nationally.
I'm smiling because my experience in coaching deals with youth sports, with my kids and all that. But I've had conversations with parents where I've tried to tell them, in my opinion, yelling at your child at 6, 7, 8, 9 years old to get outside and do extra work in a sport is not going to make them as successful as you want, because you don't become great at something in life unless you love it.
That's right. If
you're doing it begrudgingly because someone else is making you do it, you're not going to give it your best effort.
And it's going to show. And generally it shows in December. If you're lucky to put put Band-Aids on things, it's like, but when you get to December, it's the ones with the passion that are going to keep playing.
Yeah.
And I think that's, for us, that's been the secret sauce the last few years, is we get just really the right fits with the right coaches, and then you can do something pretty magical then.
Because I noticed that when I was asking you, like, what are some of the things, the defining characteristics you want your team, you didn't mention the physical part till you started with a lot of the mental stuff, the attitude that you want the team to have. How do you find that? How do you find that out about a high school kid? Like you're looking for, okay, I see the athletic profile and all of that, but how do you find out they've got the motor, they've got the love, they've got the passion to be a part of your program?
I think it's really hard, especially with the recruiting is set up where it's almost instantaneous. You have to offer on the spot on June 15th in our sport. And some of them will make a decision by June 16th or 15th, So it's hard. You're doing your homework the best you can. Hopefully you have the relationships in the volleyball community, whether it's in the club or high schools or competing clubs, and you're doing your background checks, and seeing how that checks out. You're meeting the family. I think the family dynamic is really important. Seeing what the parents are like, I think is something that is a tell. It's not always, spot on, but it's a tell. But I think the reality is that's why there's so many transfers, is because we don't know, and you do your best and you're hoping you get it right and you hope that they get it right with you, but you don't know. And that's why there's so much changes throughout college sports. And I think the ones that are attracted to you, the ones that you're like, they're going to stay and they're going to thrive. And the ones that aren't, they're going to transfer away. And then you're going to try to bring in people to take their spots. And hopefully then those people have learned through their college process what they're looking for. And for us at Oregon, like the transfers that we would get is people that are looking to raise their game to the next level or go play at the highest level, or they want to go play pro. So again, they figured out through their time that this is what their priority is or what they want to do. And so then it was the right fit.
So you mentioned the good track record you have of helping players get to the pros. This is going to be kind of tough because I'm going to ask you to brag on yourself a little bit here. But if you have a strength when it comes to getting the most out of a player, is it noticing little corrections and fundamentals? Is it, I don't know, like what is it that you feel like you can bring to a player that helps them go from here to here?
I mean, I sure hope we're some of the best technical coaches in the country. The mentor that I had at Long Beach State, who won 3 national championships and was the greatest coaches of all time, I mean, I've never seen anybody more technically detailed than him. And so I probably balance between that a little bit more and then a little bit more free play. Than what he does. But I mean, we're going to talk about every inch and thing of your body, of how it's supposed to move, where your ankle's supposed to be, how your toes are supposed to be, where your hips go, what your, it's like every piece that you're going to know. You're going to have all the information as a student athlete here. You're going to know the answers. Now it's about doing it repetitively, and in a way that then you can go out and compete and not think about it. But yeah, I think we can get the most out of you and your body of anybody out there. Or I would go up against that. I feel like as I'm watching what we're doing, that's happening. And then I think the other thing, again, is we empower our student athletes, where they gain confidence. And that doesn't happen freshman year. Freshman year is really hard. It's a spin cycle. Freshman year, you're trying to just figure out how to make your bed and, not get in fights with your, now you have a roommate, things like that, or laundry and all that kind of stuff, and where you're going to eat. I think that's hard. But as time goes on, I'm trying to think of a time where we haven't had a player that's gone through our program and then hasn't gotten what they wanted, from a professional side or academic side, whatever it is that their goals were. So I feel like what we're doing, again, is setting our student athletes up.
Okay, so this has been really fun to have a chance to get to know you a little bit. It's going to be a really exciting time. I know this is one of those times where you're going to be running through the media gauntlet, talking to all sorts of people and all that. Do you get any time yet to explore the city? Have you and your family had a chance to look around Lawrence at all during this stretch?
Yeah, when I came out on my official visit, I rented a car, so that night I just went around town for a couple hours, just me driving in pockets of neighborhoods and different shopping centers, just anything, in schools and churches, and trying to see everything I could possibly see. And then we went house hunting yesterday, so got to see more and get some more information with my wife. So that was nice. So I feel like I'm getting my bearings a little bit. I think I know which way is east and west. So that's good. So then that's helped me with north and south.
Yeah.
So figuring that piece out. But no, I have a long way to go to be able to really understand, Lawrence better, and then, which way is Kansas City and which way is Topeka and all those things. So I'm working on it. But what I've been able to see is that it's a really tight-knit community. The love for the Jayhawks is incredibly obvious and palpable. And the other thing that I think I keep getting more and more surprised by that I didn't really know is just how much people love volleyball here.
Yeah.
I from a recruiting standpoint, I know that's positive, but just around Kansas, University of Kansas, I don't think I knew exactly the love and support that we're going to get, and that's that's pretty awesome.
I have to say, my experience has been it's really grown over the past 10, 15 years. I mean, it's really been something to see the way that the passion just build and build and build. Now you have a chance to take it and run with it. That's got to excite you as a coach. It
is. No, I mean, again, it's a big reason why we're here.
Yeah. Any last message you want to have for any KU fans out there, or what they should expect? What you're excited to bring now that you're
going to get everything I got. And we're going to, try to put the best staff together for the student athletes. We're going to try to create the best student athlete environment that we can. And you're going to see our best, and hopefully that will just continue to grow each and every year. But, show up, cheer them on, cheer us on. I want to meet you. I hope I get a chance to shake your hand and learn the name. And, and we get you in Horsch, and, we're just going to continue to try to make this thing as elite as we can.
It's going to be a new chapter for Kansas volleyball. It's already been really exciting the last few years, and now a brand new start and more to come. So this is Matt Ulmer, the head coach of the volleyball team for the Kansas Jayhawks, here on the Jayhawker podcast.
You scroll, tap, swipe, text, call, and do a lot more on your phone. None of us can fathom life without all the world's knowledge in our pocket. We use phones for just about everything. But when it comes to doing the bigger things, like streaming, gaming, and working, you shouldn't be limited to just your phone screen or mobile plan. You see, millions of Americans don't have home internet. They're forced to do everything on their phone or through their mobile service via a hotspot. Or they go to public spaces and use unsecure Wi-Fi, which can be problematic when dealing with personal or sensitive information. You deserve reliable home internet to fit your life and your budget. And right now, Internet Essentials Plus from Xfinity is free through the Affordable Connectivity Program. Get unlimited data and equipment included with no annual contract. Go to Xfinity.com/free to see if you qualify. Restrictions apply. After program participation ends, Comcast standard charges, taxes, and fees apply. May not be combined with other offers.
I had this patient. His cancer treatment had him in the hospital for a while. One day, he was telling me about his grandson and how a big night was coming up for him. So we arranged to make it a big night for my patient too. I sometimes wonder if I'm doing all I can. Then I help make a moment like this possible, and I know I am.
Nate Bukaty here, and I want to tell you about my favorite hotel, the Hilton President. Looking for the perfect place to stay for the Big 12 basketball tournament? It's the closest hotel to T-Mobile. On-site Starbucks, the best breakfast around, and over 200 rooms and suites to choose from. The Hilton President Hotel has just what you need. Plenty of parking, which is hard to find downtown. Contact the Hilton President Hotel at 816-221-9490 or online at presidentkansascity.hilton.com. Our thanks once again to Matt Ulmer, the new head volleyball coach at the University of Kansas. And now it's time for our call of the game. Brought to you by the Hilton President Hotel, the only hotel in the Power and Light District, just steps away from T-Mobile Center. Over 200 rooms and suites to choose from. Call 816-221-9490 or online at presidentkansascity.hilton.com.
Hawks by 10, 5 seconds to go. Hawkins picks up his dribble down to 3 seconds, and he's just going to hand it to the official and let time expire, and you can rock. Chalk it up, the Jayhawks win a 19th consecutive home win in the Dillon Sunflower Showdown.